Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Very nice, Prabhu. Wow. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajagacharya Astatar Sata Shishimad is Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajagacharya Astatar Sata Shishimad is Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Goswami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem se kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Sri Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shama Kun Radha Kun Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Brajbhumi Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Navadvip Mayapur Dham Ki Jai. Purushottama Chaitra Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai. Ganga Yamuna Mai Ki Jai. Tulsi Devi Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. CC Vijay Gauranga Doyle Nitai Ki Jai. Shri Harinam Sankirtan Jagya Ki Jai. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Jai Nitai Go Premanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the lotus feet of CC Guru and Shri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna. Today we're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 3. Chapter 3 is titled Hiranyakashipu's Plan to Become Immortal. Today we are reading from text 12. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Iti Shushrumanirpandam. Iti Shushrumanirpandam. Tapa Paramam Ashtitaha. Tapa Paramam Ashtitaha. Vidatsvanantaram Yuktam. Vidatsvanantaram Yuktam. Swayam Tri Bhuvaneshvara. Swayam Tri Bhuvaneshvara. Iti Shushrumanirpandam. Tapa Paramam Astitaha. Vidatsvanantaram Yuktam. Swayam Tri Bhuvaneshvara. Please chant. Iti Shushrumanirpandam. Tapa Paramam Ashtitaha. Vidatsvanantaram Yuktam. Swayam Tri Bhuvaneshvara. Iti Shushrumanirpandam. Tapa Paramam Ashtita. Vidatsvanantaram Yuktam. Swayam Tri Bhuvaneshvara. Iti Shushrumanirpandam. Tapa Paramam Ashtitaha. Vidatsvanantaram Yuktam. Swayam Tri Bhuvaneshvara. Any ladies? Iti Shushrumanirpandam. Tapa Paramam Ashtitaha. Vidatsvanantaram Yuktam. Swayam Tri Bhuvaneshwaram. Iti, in this way, Shushruma, we have heard. Nirbandam, strong determination. Tapaha, austerity. Paramam, very severe. Ashtitaha, is situated in. Vidatsva, please take steps. Anantaram, as soon as possible. Yuktam, befitting. Swayam, yourself. Tri Bhuvaneshwara, O Master of the three worlds. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. O Lord, we have heard from reliable sources that in order to obtain your post, Hiranyakashipu is now engaged in severe austerity. You are the master of the three worlds. Please, without delay, take whatever steps you deem appropriate. Purport. In the material world, a servant is provided for by the master, but is always planning how to capture the master's post. There have been many instances of this in history. Especially in India during the Mohammedan rule, many servants, by plans and devices, took over the posts of their masters. It is learned from Chaitanya literature that one big zamindar, Subhuti Roy, kept a Mohammedan boy as a servant. Of course, he treated the boy as his own child, and sometimes when the boy would steal something, the master would chastise him by striking him with a cane. There was a mark on the boy's back from this chastisement. Later, after that boy had by crooked means become Hussein Shah, Nawab of Bengal, one day his wife saw the mark on his back and inquired about it. The Nawab replied that in his childhood he had been a servant of Subhuti Roy, who had punished him because of some mischievous activities. Upon hearing this, the Nawab's wife immediately became agitated and requested her husband to kill Subhuti Roy. Nawab Hussein Shah, of course, was very grateful to Subhuti Roy and therefore refused to kill him. But when his wife requested him to turn Subhuti Roy into a Mohammedan, the Nawab agreed. Taking some water from his water pot, he sprinkled it upon Subhuti Roy and declared that Subhuti Roy had now become a Mohammedan. The point is that this Nawab had been an ordinary menial servant of Subhuti Roy, but was somehow or other able to occupy the supreme post of Nawab of Bengal. This is the material world. Everyone is trying to become master through various devices, although everyone is servant of his senses. Following this system, a living entity, although servant of his senses, tries to become master of the whole universe. Hiranyakashipu was a typical example of this, and Brahma was informed by the demigods of his intentions. Om Jnana Timarandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshulam Militam Yenam Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Tadati Swapadantikam Bandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuta Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavam Cha Sri Rupam Sagrajatan Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shivishakan Vitamsha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sutta Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Panchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhayevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gauda Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. Thank you so much for inviting me. Try to say something this morning. I pray I can say something of value to somebody. When I was a teenager, I had a close friend. We did like music stuff together. And then I found Krishna consciousness. Our paths went a little bit in different directions. He was never envious. He always liked Krishna consciousness, actually, but he wasn't ready to take it up. But this friend of mine, really great mind for business. He was like a really clever guy. And at a very young age, like less than 25, he was a millionaire. He bought a bigger house than his parents. And, we were out of touch for a long time. And then at one point, we kind of reconnected, caught up a little bit. And he said, he was engaged in his business, which means, he was a very hardworking person, not lazy at all. Very clever, very, very hardworking, very successful. And so when we caught up, he said something very strong to me. He said, I think about you a lot. He said, one day, I think maybe I will also join what you're doing. I said, really? He said, yeah. He said, what I imagine is that you're around a lot of good vibrations and good people. And I said, yeah, that's basically what it is. That's true. In Hare Krishna society, a lot of good vibrations, a lot of good people. He said, me, in my line of work, in my business, I have all kinds of people around me, and I'm just thinking at every moment how all of them is trying to steal from me. So that's the material consciousness. Here in this verse of Bhagavatam, the demigods are approaching Lord Brahma, who is the creator of the universe. He's referred to as Tri Bhuvan Ishvara, O master of the three worlds. And the demigods are saying, this guy's trying to steal from you, or more than that, he wants to fully take your post. And he's doing param, tapa, paramam, ashtitaha. Very severe. He's situated in very severe austerity for that. Someone is like ready to do a Nirjala Ekadasi or something. Wow, it's big austerity. He was doing Nirjala Ekadasi with his hands raised, standing on one foot for, what was it, 60,000 years or 100 years of the demigods? Unbelievable austerity, but the goal was absolutely materialistic. He was just thinking, how can I overtake Lord Brahma and become the master of the universe? And so Srila Prabhupada is saying, in the material world, a servant is provided for by the master, but is always planning how to capture the master's post. So in one sense, in the hierarchy in the material world, Brahma is our master. He's provided so many things. We can appreciate that demigods are giving us all kinds of facilities for our survival. But if instead of showing some respect and some appreciation, the demoniac mentality is, I want what they have. Let me take them down and let me become in that post. That's Hiranyakashipu's mentality. This is the material world, Srila Prabhupada writes. Everyone is trying to become master through various devices, although everyone is servant of the senses. Following this system, a living entity, although servant of his senses, tries to become master of the whole universe. Hiranyakashipu was a typical example of this, and Brahma was informed by the demigods of his intentions. So Hiranyakashipu is like a powerful personification of exactly the opposite of the type of consciousness we want. Like Chaitanya Charitamrita describes, essentially there's two different types of consciousness. There's kama, material lust, the desire for material sense gratification, and prema, which means selfless, transcendental love for the Lord. Those are like, it is the difference between selfish consciousness and perfectly selfless consciousness. So Hiranyakashipu, he's personifying what is exactly like the pinnacle, paramam, like the highest type of selfish consciousness. Many years ago, when I was in America, there used to be this festival called the Rainbow Gathering, where devotees would preach, and somehow it was like a lot of devotees came from that. And it was a festival that they would have in the forest, and it was kind of like a hippie thing a little bit. It'd be a lot of like breaking principles, breaking like drugs and illicit sex and stuff. But somehow the people were a little bit open, and devotees would do lots of harinam, lots of prasadam distribution. But because it's a little bit like a tamasic environment in certain ways, I told my GBC, His Holiness Romapad Swami, who's like very kind of strict, uptight, heavy, tight sannyasi. I told him, yes, Maharaj, I'm going to the Rainbow Gathering with the devotees for preaching. And he said, oh, you're going to go to that place. And he said, don't do anything I wouldn't do. I was like, wow, that's a pretty big comment from a strong sannyasi. Yes. So not exactly in the same way, but when we look at Hiranyakashipu, it's the perfect example. Don't do anything he does. Don't do anything like that. Srila Prabhupada in the purport, he gives this example. It is learned from Chaitanya literature that one big zamindar, Subhuti Roy, kept a Mohammedan boy as a servant, and then the servant became the Nawab Hussain Shah. So we should look at that story. There's no purports in that story, but it's in the end of the Madhya Lila, the 25th chapter. Srila Prabhupada describes and gives a few more details there. It's very beautiful actually, and how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu preaches is very nice. Goes like this. Again, there's no purports. I'll just read this. We're starting from verse 186. Madhya Lila, chapter 25, starting from 186. When Rupa Goswami reached Mathura, he met Subhuti Roy on the banks of the Yamuna, a place called Dhruvagat. Formerly, Subhuti Roy had been a big landholder in Gauradesh, Bengal. Sayyada Hussain Khan was then a servant of Subhuti Roy. Subhuti Roy put Hussain Khan in charge of digging a big lake, but once, finding fault with him, he struck him with a whip. Later, Hussain Khan somehow or other was appointed Nawab by the central Muslim government. As a matter of obligation, he increased the opulences of Subhuti Roy. Later, when the wife of Nawab Sayyada Hussain Khan saw the whip marks on his body, she requested him to kill Subhuti Roy. Hussain Khan replied, "Subhuti Roy has maintained me very carefully. He was just like a father to me," he said. "Now you are asking me to kill him. This is not a very good proposal." As a last alternative, the wife suggested that the Nawab take away Subhuti Roy's caste and turn him into a Muslim. But Hussain Khan replied that if he did this, Subhuti Roy would not live. This became a perplexing problem for him because his wife kept requesting him to kill Subhuti Roy. Finally, the Nawab sprinkled a little water on Subhuti Roy's head from a pitcher that had been used by a Muslim. Taking the Nawab's sprinkling water upon him as an opportunity, Subhuti Roy left his family and business affairs and went to Varanasi. When Subhuti Roy consulted the learned Brahmins at Varanasi, asking them how his conversion to Islam could be counteracted, they advised him to drink hot ghee and give up his life. So are you following the reading? It's, once I heard a devotee asked an Ayurvedic physician, in the Ayurvedic science, what is the cure for cancer? And the answer was, death. if you die, then your cancer will be finished. So this Subhuti Roy, hey, I got converted to a Muslim, how can I be relieved of this? Well, you drink boiling ghee. Then all your problems are done. When Subhuti Roy consulted some other Brahmins, they told him that he had not committed a grievous fault, and that consequently he should not drink hot ghee and give up his life. As a result, Subhuti Roy was doubtful about what to do. In his state of perplexity, Subhuti Roy met Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu when the Lord was at Varanasi. Subhuti Roy explained his position and asked Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu what he should do. The Lord advised him, go to Vrindavan and chant the Hare Krishna mantra constantly. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu further advised Subhuti Roy, begin chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, and when your chanting is almost pure, all your sinful reactions will go away. After you chant perfectly, you will get shelter at the lotus feet of Krishna. When you are situated at the lotus feet of Krishna, no sinful reaction can touch you. This is the best solution to all sinful activity. Thus, receiving the order from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to go to Vrindavan, Subhuti Roy left Varanasi and went through Prayag, Ayodhya, and Naimisharanya toward Vrindavan. Subhuti Roy stayed for some time at Naimisharanya. During that time, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to Prayag after visiting Vrindavan. After reaching Mathura, Subhuti Roy received information of the Lord's itinerary. He became very unhappy because he was not able to contact the Lord. Subhuti Roy would collect dry wood in the forest and take it to the city of Mathura to sell. For each load, he would receive 5 or 6 paisa. Earning his livelihood by selling dry wood, Subhuti Roy would live on only 1 paisa's worth of fried chickpeas, and he would deposit whatever other paisa he had with some merchant. Subhuti Roy used to spend his savings to supply yogurt to Bengali Vaishnavas who came to Mathura. He also gave them cooked rice and oil massages. When he saw a poverty-stricken Vaishnava, he would use his money to feed him. So what a powerful example that even in such a extremely simple condition of life, earning money, just making a few paisa, he was living so simply, just maintaining himself in an absolutely simple way, taking 1 paisa's worth of chickpeas, and then using the rest of his funds to do Vaishnav Seva. When Rupa Goswami arrived at Mathura, Subhuti Roy, out of love and affection for him, wanted to serve him in so many ways. He personally took Rupa Goswami to see all the 12 forests of Vrindavan. Rupa Goswami remained, imagine being the tour guide of Vrindavan to Srila Rupa Goswami. Rupa Goswami remained in Mathura and Vrindavan for 1 month in the association of Subhuti Roy. After that, he left Vrindavan to search for his elder brother, Sanatan Goswami. Anyway, it goes on. But yeah, it's a strong example that it's relevant for us in Krishna consciousness too, because we may also need to be corrected. Like Subhuti Roy, he had this Muslim boy who became the Hussein Shah and was engaging him in service. And at one point, he chastised him very severely with a whip. And it seems that he took it. He didn't take it in such a bad spirit, right? He never protested about it, but his wife didn't take it the right way. Later in life, his wife didn't take it the right way. The old Indian culture, like there's an English idiom, spare the rod, spoil the child. If you read the biographies of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he says that when he would go to school, the system was all the boys would be hit in a way to make them be on time. And the system was the boy that came first to class, he got hit once. The person that came second was hit twice. The person that came third was hit 3 times. And on like that, that was their very, very strict culture for maintaining discipline. And, somehow they produced Bhaktivinoda Thakur in such a culture. A couple of years ago, I had to take a train from Switzerland into Germany to catch a flight. And I told my cousin lives in Switzerland, and he said, "Oh, how are you traveling?" I said, "I'm taking a train." He said, "Oh, you should expect to be delayed, by many hours." I said, "Really?" He said, "Oh yeah, that's the standard now." I said, "How is it possible? I thought in, Germany they're so tight about, the schedule and the time, and they're so regulated." And my cousin said, no, that culture is going away. He said, if you want to have high standards like that, then someone, I won't say the language he used, but someone should not be a nice person. If you want it to be that the value is that all the trains are perfectly on time and that everything is running in a very ordered and very disciplined way, it means that somebody at the top that's organizing is a very harsh person, and that's maybe not nice to people. And now that culture is it's not like what it was, the old guard of maybe an old German culture is kind of fading as people are retiring, people are kind of leaving, and the newer generation doesn't have that same spirit to at any cost, let's keep discipline. At any cost, we'll be harsh with others. And so because you don't have that, the standard has diminished. And so in Krishna consciousness too, there may also be that type of tension, that to really keep a high standard may require someone be a little harsh, a little strong with us. And that will require taking chastisement in the right spirit. It's the immature disciple, if he is chastised by the spiritual master, he may feel offended. Hey, don't speak to me like that. How can you speak to me like that? But a mature disciple should be able to take chastisement from the Guru, from the Vaishnavas, in a proper spirit, that this person wants to help me grow. This person wants to help me make advancement. Yeah, so that's always a struggle. It may also be, we may also see like that as, someone doesn't want to be so harsh, someone doesn't want to be so strict, but then the standard may be sacrificed. So anyway, so this Subhuti Roy, he was a little strict with his servant. And ultimately, it wasn't the servant himself, but the wife later couldn't adjust to that the chastisement may be for benefit. The wife, rebelled against, how dare he? How could he do this? So this is also some material consciousness. We can try to introspect. If life becomes heavy with us, things become challenging, or if the Guru corrects us, if the Vaishnavas correct us, it will take some maturity, some good consciousness to take things in the right spirit. That's a lot of the things that I wanted to say. I was just thinking, again, in the spirit, if you can take Hiranyakashipu as like the perfect personification of the material consciousness, then we might want to think, well, how can I develop the consciousness of Vaishnavism? What is devotional consciousness? And I was looking at this prayer of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Amara Jivana Sadapape Rata. He's singing like this: my life is ever given to sin. In it, there is not a particle of good. I have caused others great anxiety and have troubled all souls. This is a song that's in the section of Dainya, or humility, in the Sharanagati songbook. There's the 6 principles of surrender, and the first one is humility. And this song is under that category. Srila Prabhupada sang this song. He also spoke a purport to this song. We can look at that also. So in contrast to egoistic, materialistic, selfish ambition to establish oneself, never mind the cost. Even I have to, Jai, Sushi, Vijay Garanga Doyal Nitai, Ki Jai. In the material consciousness, let me establish myself, let me get the position, let me get the opulence, let me get the facility. Never mind, I have to strike down somebody else. Hiranyakashipu wants to take over the post of Brahma. Whatever it takes. Let me suffer like anything, doing the tapasya for it. So in contrast, the Vaishnav spirit is, Bhaktivinoda Thakur is showing the example, correcting himself, correcting his mentality. My consciousness is so materialistic. I condemn myself for this. For the sake of my own enjoyment, I have never hesitated to perform sinful acts. Devoid of all compassion, I am concerned only with my selfish interests. Perpetually speaking lies, I become dejected upon seeing others happy, whereas the misery of others is a source of great delight for me. There are limitless material desires within the core of my heart. I am wrathful, fond of exhibiting arrogance, intoxicated by vanity, and bewildered by worldly affairs. I wear the cherished ornaments of envy and egoism. It's a very profoundly humble expression. Ruined by laziness and sleep, I resist all pious deeds, yet am very enthusiastic to perform wicked acts. For the sake of worldly fame and reputation, I engage in the practice of deceitfulness. I am victimized by my own greed, being always lustful. A vile, wicked man such as this, rejected by godly people, is a constant offender. Devoid of all good works, forever inclined toward evil, he is worn out and wasted by various miseries. Now in old age, deprived of all means of relief, thus humbled and poor, Bhaktivinoda submits his tale of grief at the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord. This is a Srila Prabhupada's purport. It's not very long, but very nice. Jivana sadapape rata nihoki nahiko punyara lesha. This is a song sung by Bhaktivinoda Thakur in Vaishnav humbleness. A Vaishnav is always meek and humble. So he is describing the life of the people in general, taking himself to be one of them. He says that, quote, my life is always engaged in sinful activities, and if you try to find out, you will not find even a trace of pious activities, only sinful activities. And parera udvega diachi ye koto diachi jivera klesha. I am always inclined to give trouble to other living entities. That is my business. I want to see that others are suffering, and then I enjoy. Nija sukha lagi pape nahi dori. For my personal sense gratification, I accept any kind of sinful activity. Daya hina swartha para. I am not at all merciful, and I see only to my personal interest. Para sukhe duki sada mitya bashi. As such, when others are suffering, I become very happy, and I am always speaking lies. Even for ordinary things, I am accustomed to speaking lies. Para dukkha sukha koro. And if someone is suffering, that is very pleasing to me. Ashesha kamana hridhi majhe mora. I have got lots of desires within my heart, and I am always angry and falsely prestigious, always puffed up with false pride. Mada mata sada vishaye mohita. I am captivated by subject matters of sense gratification, and I am almost crazy. Hamsa garva bhishuna. My ornaments are enviousness and false pride. Nidra lasya hata sukarye virata. I am conquered by sleep and laziness, and I am always averse to pious activities. Akarye udyogi ami, and I am very enthusiastic to perform impious activities. Pratishta lagiya satya acharana. I always cheat others for my prestige. Lobha hata sarakami. I am conquered by greediness and always lusty. Eheno durjana sajjana varjita. I am so fallen, and I have no association with devotees. Aparadhe nirantara. I am an offender always. Shubha karya shunya. In my life, there is not a bit of auspicious activity. Sadanartha mana, and my mind is always attracted by something mischievous. Nana duke jara jara. Therefore, at the fag end of my life, I am almost invalid by all such sufferings. Bardakye ekona upaya vihina. Now in my old age, I have no alternative. Tate dina akinchana. Therefore, by force, I have now become very humble and meek. Bhaktivinod prabhura charane kore dukkha nivedana. Thus, Bhaktivinod is offering his sad statement of his life's activities at the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord. Anyway, these are a few humble comments. Thought to end with some strong Vaishnava expression of humility to emphasize the consciousness we're hoping to imbibe, cultivate. Any comments, questions, some discussion? From Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. It's Srila Prabhupada sung this song. There's recordings of him. It's from the Bhaktivinoda Thakur's songbook Sharanagati. I just read the purport by Srila Prabhupada.
How does one actually fall into this consciousness of Hiranyakashipu? How do we develop this state?
How does one fall into the consciousness of Hiranyakashipu? Wow. I mean, the tougher question is how do I not have the consciousness of Hiranyakashipu? I think a lot of the Hiranyakashipu qualities, they come pretty naturally to me. Right? So whenever you find yourself like a little bit in Maya, then you can introspect. How did this consciousness come to me? I'm like thinking like Hiranyakashipu. Then you can examine, how did this consciousness come? And that will be the answer to your question. Anyone else have any thoughts about that, or what do you think?
I believe what we can learn from the description of Hiranyakashipu or certain canto that it's in general like we accept this Asuri consciousness is trying to own the fruit of the result for ourselves, right? That's a basic core of this kindness.
Yeah, it means selfishness. It's like everything is for me. What can I get? Never mind, how others have to suffer. What about me? And the devotional consciousness is exactly the opposite. How can the Lord be pleased? Never mind how I have to suffer, but how can the Lord be pleased? Prabhu?
In this Bhaktivinoda Thakur song and many other descriptions of the Vaishnavacharya, Narottam Das Thakur, there's this extreme humility, and by the same time, this is you can say the path of Paramahamsa. At the same time, we have another path, although we going to this path of Paramahamsa, we also have this so-called Eastern path. And many times, we are, by the institutional arrangements, we cannot act in such an extreme humility way. So what would your comment be, or how do you adjust this, or how do you don't go too much on the other side? If you go too much on this side, humility, then, as you said, the movement will slowly disintegrate.
Oh, I see your question now.
If you go too much on the harsh side, then what about the humility and all these things? So how do you somehow adjust this to
Okay, well, first of all, the ISKCON way includes Trinadapi Sunichena, Tororapi Sahishnuna, Amanina Manadena, Kirtaniya Sadahari. We're chanting that in the morning. That's fundamental. to our ISKCON way. And this, you can say that this type of song by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur and other songs in a similar mood, it's like an expansion on that verse that, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given various moods of pure devotion in the Shikshastika. And so those songs, those prayers that are expressing extreme humility, you can say it's like an expansion of that Trinadapi Sunichena verse. So there's no question that is completely relevant to us. It's completely pointing the direction that we want to cultivate. Then when it comes to having different relationships, having a society, having like a hierarchy, people have to manage, people have to be in charge, the guru has to care for the disciples. It's not necessarily that in all dealings like that the superior is just going to criticize themselves and allow the disciple or allow the junior all indulgence. No, if it's someone's position and someone's service to train others or to organize others, to manage others for the purpose of advancing the goals of the Krishna conscious society, then it may be even a service to be harsh and strict and disciplinary and rigid about rules and regulations. There's a place for that, of course, and it may be an expression of humility that someone to take that service and to do that properly. What do you think? It may be a fine line, as kind of time goes by and the quality of human nature may become less, then to become so strict, it may get a different result. It may be more difficult. That's the tension, I think. That you have how to temper strictness with mercy. Shnardan Maharaj, do you have any thoughts about any of this? Sorry to just call like that, but I just thought you might have a lot of realization or thoughts about this.
But first of all, this is the conditioned state of the living being in the material world. So it's like part of it. That's why we're still here. We're still under the nose of material nature, especially the passion and ignorance. So, yes, let's stretch out birth after birth, the nature, and we should find a solution for this, which is what we're doing every day. We are losing a lot of goodness. Everything is arranged for all of us to get out of that being in a position where we're not supposed to be. So, yes, keep going. And especially the association is most important. Those who are free from envy, free from lust, free from greed, free from anger. It's very difficult to find, but we'll find it from the writings of the Acharyas. This is how we associate Srila Prabhupada. Otherwise, there's no other solution for this. The predicament of the conditioned souls will continue on birth after birth. But then without guidance coming from the Sastra, coming from the sadhus, and the spiritual master. So, yes.
Any other thoughts or comments, question, discussion?
I have a question. Somebody said you are living in Vrindavan, in Bhagavatam, it's you or only two of the same?
Yeah, I've been away for a while, but yeah.
Okay, but that doesn't matter. I mean, the question is, we all, I mean, we concentrate on the Prabhupada said it all depends on time, place, and circumstance. So, and everybody of the Vaishnavas, they worship the holy down more than other places, yeah, or like Vrindavan and Mayapur, Jagannath. But the question is how this is becoming that places are more Sattvic than other places. How is it becoming? Because I mean, it's not depending on the worship by ourselves.
Well, if you go to Vrindavan, you might have a question if it's more sattvic, but the but Vrindavan is transcendental because of its contact, first of all, with the Lord. Krishna had his pastimes there. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had pastimes there, rediscovering the places of Lord Krishna. Then all of the great acharyas in our sampradaya, starting with the 6 Goswamis, spent time in Vrindavan. I mean, who on our altar there didn't spend great time in Vrindavan? So in so many ways, Vrindavan is most sacred for us because of that contact, more than any modes of nature that may be there. Is that okay?
I don't know if it's okay for you, but I mean, but this is it's okay. How I can how I can make a place transcendental? How I can abstract this idea of it's also material for some people that only in this place is also like worshiping Krishna only in the temple, but also we can worship Krishna in the home, we can worship Krishna everywhere. Yeah, some people they carry deities with them, walk around everywhere, live Avadhuta style, they stay in the forest or somewhere. How is
Well, I don't know, what was this neighborhood of Köln before the temple was here? It was just some kind of regular place. But then they made a temple here. They established the worship of the deity, worship of Srila Prabhupada, following Prabhupada's instructions for worshiping the Lord. The devotees are trying to do devotional activities here. So because of that, it's become a sacred place, a holy place. So how do you make a place holy? That's the example, that's the idea. And yes, we agree, you can make your home spiritual. You can make, other places spiritual by the strength of your worship of the Lord. Is that okay?
yeah,
Thank you. Okay, maybe we'll leave it there, unless there's anything else. Thank you so much for your kind attention. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Hare Krishna.